withdraws his senses.
Recording in progress.
Done? Okay. So whenever, like when you go to any temple, traditional temple, and the entrance you will find turtle there. So what is the reason why there is a tortoise? सेन्स ऑब्जेक्टला बघून तो त्याचे सेन्सेस विड्रॉ करतो म्हणून टॉर्टॉइज असतो. Whenever somebody attacks on tortoise withdraws all his senses, all his hands and limbs inside. So similarly, whenever we are going inside the temple, we should withdraw our senses. We should not be agitated, we should not be doing wrong or eating, sleeping, hearing, all varieties of things with our senses whenever we are entering into a temple. We should control our senses and mind, and then we should enter, and that is the reason tortoise is there at the entrance. So that is what is spoken here in verse number 58. Verse number 58. Yada samharate chayam kurmangani sarvashah indriyani indraarthebhya tasya prajna pratishtita. So this particular line, tasya prajna pratishtita, we will see many times in Bhagavad Gita. Especially in this chapter, this particular thing is spoken again and again. So what does that mean? Tasya prajna pratishtita. Steady in his consciousness. Prajna means what? Don't remember some prajna in some class. Yes, it is knowledge and consciousness. Prajna is literally means knowledge in Sanskrit. So here this word prajna is a consciousness. Tasya prajna pratishtita. हम लोग बोलते हैं ना प्राण प्रतिष्ठा किया. That means that it is established there. Or pratishtha, pratishthapana is also another word. Similarly, this word pratishtha comes from there. So tasya prajna pratishtita, that means his consciousness is stable, his intelligence is stable. So in the previous verse also 57, Krishna spoke about tasya prajna pratishtita. Now in 58 also he is speaking about tasya prajna pratishtita. Whose tasya prajna pratishtita? That means his consciousness is stable. Whose consciousness is stable? We are talking about Sthita Pragya. So Sthita Pragya's consciousness is very stable. And that Sthita Pragya person, what he does? One who is able to withdraw all his senses. One who is able to withdraw his senses from the sense object, as the tortoise draws its limb within the shell, is firmly fixed in a perfect consciousness. So this prakar se, the way tortoise withdraws his senses, controls his senses. Bhakti Shastri class urgent hai. So the way tortoise withdraws his senses when some attacks happens on him. Similarly, we should be also alert that whenever there is a sense object in front of us, we should withdraw our senses. Is it possible? No, it is possible for Sthita Pragya. Are we aiming to be a Sthita Pragya? No. So why are you sitting here? So one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object, as a tortoise draws his limb within the shell, is firmly fixed in a perfect consciousness. So how is he sits? So whenever he sits, he is very controlled. He is not agitated. When somebody is tired, somebody is in ignorance, somebody is in passion, he can't sit peacefully. But one who is in Sattva Guna can sit peacefully, perform yoga, perform sadhana, perform samadhi. He can be in samadhi. He can meditate properly. So that's what is spoken here, that he should be able to withdraw his senses. So this is something which is very, very, very important. And for that, our prajna, that means knowledge, has to be very much pakka, firm. That's very important. If we are firm in our knowledge, if we have studied things properly, we can actually does not get agitated. Like for brahmacharis, it is said that when they see a beautiful woman walking on the street, so what they should do? Because eyes are seeing, So eyes are sending a signal to mind, and mind is always disturbed and agitated. So there will be agitation in the heart. There will be agitation in consciousness. So what he should do? He should actually, Chaitanya Charitamrita say that he should perform a dissection. So if he sees the hand, then he should dissect. As soon as he dissects, as soon as he cut the skin, what will come out? Blood, flesh, bones, all these things will be seen. Have you? Is there anyone who's attracted towards the blood and all dirty things? No. कोई होगा मतलब क्षत्रिय हूँ मैं खून का प्यासा हूँ and all of that. I love blood very much, but that's very rare, in fact nobody will like it. Even if that kshatriya is there, he will not get attracted, and then he will not feel that I should go and embrace. He will say no. So similarly, because this is a knowledge he has received, and that brahmachari who has received this knowledge will see, like Radheshampur, many times Radheshampur's examples are very graphic, and the way he said, if you see the hand of a woman, or for a woman, a man, and you are getting attracted, like bicep tricep wala men, generally ladies get attracted. So you should see a dog carrying a bone, because there is nothing but if you remove the flesh and all the nerves and blood and everything, it is just a blood, it is just a bone, and that bone is carried by a dog. You should literally see that beauty like that. So why I am telling you this particular thing? Because he has this knowledge. So a person who is in samadhi, one person who is in pure consciousness, tasya prajna pratishtita, he is fixed in knowledge. Because he is fixed in knowledge, he is very clear that how should he react with the sense object. And the first reaction is he withdraws his senses. No, I should not get it. No, as soon as the Vishaya Vastu comes, the Vishayas, the senses are controlled. So Sthita Pragya devotee controls his senses, and after that he is peaceful. Okay, so whenever there is agitation, we may not be able to say no immediately, but then our consciousness should be prepared to say no. That's very important, and that's what Haridas Thakur did, or that's what so many acharyas they did. When Haridas Thakur got they tried disturbing Haridas Thakur at two places. One is Benapul, and another is this place named Pulia. It's close to Mayapur. Close to Shantipur, where Advaita Acharya used to stay. So in Pulia, he used to chant, and at that place, personally, Maya Devi came. So generally, Maya means it's like very derogatory for us. We don't so much see Maya as very high, but then Maya is who? She is a Bhuvana Sundari. She is the most beautiful lady of this whole universe, whole material creation. I am not talking about Miss India, Miss World, Miss Universe. She is beautiful. Neither of the heaven, the damsels of heaven who are considered very beautiful. Like it is said, if the damsels of heaven is walking from some distance, the kilometers radius, the fragrance from their body comes out, and they are extremely beautiful. So she is much, much, much beautiful than the damsels of heaven. So she is Bhuvana Sundari, and that Bhuvana Sundari is coming and standing in front of Haridas Thakur, and she is trying to agitate Haridas Thakur, and he is least bothered, he is not disturbed by that. So this is what a Sthita Pragya does. He withdraws his senses. And there are stories of a simple sound of an ankle bell has also agitated a person who is trying to be in samadhi, or is trying to perform some yogic sadhana, siddhi for years together. So that's what one prajna, that means consciousness, has to be stable. And to make a consciousness stable, practice, that is sadhana, is very important. A sincere practice of sadhana is very important. Today morning somebody sent me a very nice this thing about the chanting. It's a letter, it's a poem, whatever you say. A letter from the holy name. The holy name sending a letter. I saw you today, your lips moved, but your heart was far. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. And then you are saying, oh, that particular devotee, he said this thing to me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare, aaj wo will go for a movie. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Aaj usko aise टांग खींचनी है. So many things. So he is saying, I saw you today, your lips moved, but your heart was far. I still came, I still stayed, I always do. Who is speaking this? Harinam. I don't need perfection, just your presence. So are we present is very important. Are we present here in the class? So are we, Holy Name is asking, whenever you are holding a bead bag, are you present there? I am not sound, I am someone who loves you. I am Krishna, I am in my names, even when you forget me, I don't forget you. So if our sadhana is strict, like yesterday I was speaking about this, that सावधान तीव्रता से और सावधानते से, that our we have to have a very sincere, serious practice of our devotional service. If that is there, then our consciousness will be stable, and then only we will be able to call ourselves as a sthita pragya. So this is the expectation from a devotee. This particular section is a part of a buddhi yoga, and buddhi yoga is very, very close to bhakti yoga. In fact, many places Prabhupada will call buddhi yoga as bhakti yoga only. So this is a part of a bhakti yoga, what we are discussing, and this is expected from every person who is trying to be a devotee. Every day morning we say, one who is trying to be a devotee. So this is applied for us, very important. Verse number 59. Okay, some part of the purport. The taste of a yogi devotee or a self-realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are a servant of the senses and thus directed by the direct dictation of the senses. That is the answer to the question of how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to the venomous serpent. They want to act very loosely without restriction. The yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpent like senses. It's like a snake charmer. Have you seen snake charmer? He actually controls. He never allows them to act independently. The snake charmer does not allow a snake to act independently. If you allow a snake to act independently, snake is a envious creature. And because of that envy, so much envy is in the heart of a snake, the very first thing he'll do is that he'll go and bite someone and try to kill someone. So similarly, our senses, if they are not controlled, if a mind is not our friend, it is a envious enemy of ours. And it is going to disturb our life very much. So he never allows to act them independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scripture. Some of them are don'ts and some of them are do's. What this is called in Sanskrit? Do's and don'ts. Yama and Nima. Okay. The best example set here is the tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment wind up the senses, exhibit them again at any time of the particular purpose. Similarly, the senses of the Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdraws otherwise. So possible? It is possible. It is possible for us, and we have to become a Sthita Pragya. Verse number 59. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarja rasopasya param društva nivartate. So you have to buy at this verse. This is something which is very important. This talks about the tagline of Govinda. What is the tagline of Govinda's? Govinda's, the higher taste. So this particular verse talks about the higher taste. Okay. So this is Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarja rasopyasya param društva nivartate. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from the sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains. But ceasing such an engagement by experiencing higher taste, he is fixed in a Krishna consciousness. He is fixed in a consciousness. Param društva nivartate. That means he is completely, he can seize, he can stop this kind of agitation. Now there are two different things are spoken here. First thing is, it is about controlling the senses. The previous verse talks about how he should withdraw his senses, that means he is controlling the senses. Here it is said, Vishaya vinivartante nirahare dena. He controls the senses. Sometimes controlling the senses becomes possible. Controlling the senses becomes possible, but then the taste for sense object remains. That means the desire for sense enjoyment remains. So Vishaya and Vishaya Vastu, these are two things. So Vishaya is senses, Vishaya Vastu is the sense object. So sometimes we may control the senses, but the desire to enjoy remains. So being a devotee, we have to work on this particular activity, that we have to remove the desires of enjoyment. Vishwamitra cannot join? Call, check. So this is a Sthitapragya devotee who controls his senses also and controls his desire or taste for sense enjoyment. And how is able to do that? Parama društva nivartate. Because of the higher taste, he is able to do that. So by going to Govindas, we can control our senses and desire for sense object. So by taking Krishna Prasad, it is possible. We are going to see that in future further verses. So desire for enjoyment is something which is very much dangerous, and we have to work upon it. It is said that there are thousands of desires which pass through our mind in a day, and those desires will be fulfilled as we have desired it, because Upadrushta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta are the qualities of a Paramatma. So in that Anumanta is Anumati, one who gives the permission. So there are two birds on a tree. One bird is jumping from one place to another place, and the second bird is, what is he doing? Upadrushta, he is observing. Anumanta, he is giving permission. So the Paramatma is always observing and giving permission of all our desires. And what we can do is only desire, nothing else. The free will, what is there in our hand, by which we can only desire. So this particular desire for sense enjoyment is very harmful. For many lifetimes we are just doing that, but at least after receiving this knowledge, we should check our desire. We should find out what are my desire, and we should stop desiring something is only material enjoyment. That is very important. So Vishaya vinivartante, that if somebody wants to come out of this Vishaya and Vishaya Vastu, or the sense of taste for sense object, he has to do what he has to do? Param društva nivartante. So what, if you see Krishna in front of your eyes, Krishna is most attractive. The word Krishna is all attractive. So if you see somebody who is all attractive, then what will happen? Your attraction for this material will anyway go away. You will not have any attraction. So have you seen Krishna? Nobody took darshan today? Pratima nahi, tumi Sakshat Brajendra Nandan. He is Krishna who is standing there. He is the most beautiful personality of this whole Pune. You will not find anybody beautiful in this Pune. So Param društva. So that means Param društva means something which is very higher. Paramananda, the Ananda which is not of this world. It's Parama Purusha, that personality who is supreme. So similarly, this particular verse which is saying Param društva, that Parama which is very superior, will have a drushti, will have a darshan of that particular thing. And that is called as the higher taste, the very superior taste will receive. And then we should endeavor for that superior taste. That is very important. If you don't endeavor for a superior taste, our life will just go on. We'll just pass life, as we say, time pass, the time will just pass and will not attain anything. So that's why we have to develop a higher taste. How we can develop the higher taste? Prabhupada will tell that. Let's read. We'll read the purport and then. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from a sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from the sense enjoyment by rules and regulation is something like restricting a deceased person from certain type of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such a restriction nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, sense restrictions for some spiritual person like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dhyana, dharana is recommended for less intelligent person who have no better knowledge. So Ashtanga Yoga, Prabhupada is saying, is recommended for person who is less intelligent. But one who has a tested the beauty of a Supreme Lord Krishna in course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophyte in the spiritual advancement of life. But such a restrictions are only good until one actually have a taste for Krishna consciousness. Sahil, what is consciousness? Krishna consciousness? You have joined a society, right? International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Remembering Krishna. Okay. Govind, what is Krishna consciousness in your understanding? Doing seva for Krishna. Okay. Sham? Just by taking all of your name, Sham or Govinda, I can be Krishna conscious. Wow. Wow. And then when you say Krishna, we are always in Krishna consciousness. Yes, remembering? Remembering, reading, hearing is Krishna consciousness. So I'll go and read a Harry Potter. Will I remember Krishna? Will I be Krishna conscious? Remembering, if I remember don't remember anyone here. But whoever. So remembering, reading, hearing about Krishna is Krishna consciousness. Yes, Ojas, you going through? What is Krishna consciousness in your understanding? Developing love for Lord is Krishna consciousness. Prem Charu Prabhu?
Krishna consciousness is the hub of spiritual education, like basically library होता है, उसके लिए इसका नाम है. जैसे Krishna consciousness spiritual knowledge के लिए एक hub बोल सकते हैं.
Okay, hub for spiritual knowledge. But by receiving, just going to a library will be Krishna conscious? Yes, Krishna Prabhu.
Whenever we do anything in our life, whatever activity we are doing, we should be always conscious and we should perform that activity by remembering Krishna.
Very important. Very important. The very important thing is that we should be conscious. Before Krishna, Prabhupada many times say that before Krishna consciousness comes being conscious. So we should be conscious where we are sitting. If we understand that we are sitting in Bhakti Shastri class, we will not pull each other's leg. We will not do chick and lick and all these varieties of things. We will first understand that we are sitting in Bhakti Shastri class. And then if we are conscious of what activity we are doing, so Krishna in that letter is saying, the holy name is later there is saying that your lips were moving, but you did not see me, or I was present there, but you could not understand I am present there, because your heart was not involved. So you are conscious of someone. You know, a boy loves a girl, he's always conscious of her 24/7. What best I can do for her. So you know, you're going to he's going to meet her, so he'll carry some flowers. You know, he's going to plan for a dinner, plan for this, plan for that, so many things. So being a devotee of Krishna, 24/7, he remembers Krishna and plans for a best service to Krishna. He plans for a best opportunity to remember, to please Krishna, and to develop that. After once continuously doing that, he can develop the love for Krishna. That is Krishna Prem. So Krishna consciousness is being conscious of Krishna. But please, before being Krishna conscious, be conscious of what you are doing. It will become easy to be Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada is saying here, when one is actually in Krishna consciousness, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. So how we can come out of this mentality of a sense enjoyment? By being Krishna conscious, by always remembering Krishna. So this is something which we have to do, we must do, and for that we have to endeavor. We have to always and always remember and remind ourselves. Yes, Ojasi, going through question.
तर त्यांनी गृहस्थ आश्रम स्वीकार करावं. तर मग त्या गृहस्थ आश्रमाला जी हायर टेस्ट भेटती आहे ती इव्हेंच्युअली एलिव्हेट करते का ती टेस्टच नाही आहे, तिला रिस्ट्रिक्ट
हाऊ यू
करायचं.
स्टार्टेड युअर क्वेश्चन? व्हॉट यू एक्झॅक्टली सेड? आय डिड नॉट गेट.
आपल्याला असं सांगितलं जातं जर कोणाला ब्रह्मचार्याचं पालन होत नसेल तर त्यांनी गृहस्थ आश्रम स्वीकार करावा.
ओके.
म्हणजे गृहस्थ आश्रमची जी टेस्ट आहे ती एलिव्हेटिंग आहे की ती वानप्रस्थाला एलिव्हेट करेल का ती टेस्टच नाही आहे, म्हणजे ते रिस्ट्रिक्ट करायचं असं आहे. म्हणजे काय
If you are actually following the rules and regulations of Grihastha Ashram, it will elevate. If you are choosing just because I cannot control my senses, and then that's the reason I'm going to get into a Grihastha Ashram, and then after getting into Grihastha Ashram, I got a free license to do anything and everything. If that is the mentality, we will never elevate. But then if we are in Grihastha Ashram, and then we understand the principles of Grihastha Ashram, we know the rules and regulations and the limitations of Grihastha Ashram, and while doing that, ashram word, either it is a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha or sannyas. Ashram means refers to a ashraya. Ashram means shelter. So if we are under the shelter of Guru and Gauranga and following the principles of Krishna consciousness and Grihastha Ashram, surely elevate. And that's the reason Grihastha Ashram is considered as one of the best, the topmost of ashrama, because he being in that situation, being very close to the sense object, sense gratification, he's trying to control, he's endeavoring to control, and not only that, he's supporting other three ashramas also, so that they can progress. And that's why Grihastha Ashram is considered as best. So we respect the Grihastha Ashram, but then unfortunately, Krishna does not become a center of our ashrama life, Grihastha Ashram life. Unfortunately, we don't take shelter of Krishna in that ashrama, ashraya, and then we turn up to be a Grahamedi than Grihastha. So if you are not keeping Krishna in the center, we will never advance. Another thing, the rules and regulations, the principles of Grihastha Ashram are also very important. If we should follow that. If we follow, we will progress. Others will not. Okay. Any other question? Hare Krishna. Rishi Vishwamitra Prabhu, Rishikesh Konda Prabhu, can I see your faces?
I've done that. Yes, bro.
Okay. Next verse, verse number 60. Mike.
While explaining the last purport, you gave example of Govindas, the higher taste. But we see that the quality which should be maintained is
that's why
actually not maintained. I mean, you don't know the consciousness of that person.
That's perfect. That's why I am not recommending you to go to Govindas and take the higher.
No, even I am not promoting anything, but still.
Basically the Govindas, the higher taste tagline was given by Prabhupada because it is Krishna Prasad. So wherever there is the opportunity of getting a proper Krishna Prasad, especially Mahaprasad, we should endeavor to get that, or we should always eat Krishna Prasad, then only our consciousness will elevate. So no recommendation of going to Govindas, Madhvas or whatever. ठीक है? Verse number 60. यततो अपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चिता इंद्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रभवमना. Very important line. Indriyani pramathini haranti prabhavamana. These indriyas are pramathi. Where this word comes, pramathi? One more verse, very famous verse. Yes, Bhagavad Gita only. Arjuna is only speaking that verse. Chanchalahi mana Krishna pramadhit balavad drudam. That this mind is chanchala, it's very much agitated, it's very flickering. Chanchalahi mana Krishna pramathi balavad drudam. That he is pramat, he has so much of ahankar, he is so much of so much of ego, whatever, he is so much very powerful. And balavad drudam, he is very, he has a great strength. Similarly, indriyani pramathini, the indriyas are agitated, the senses are agitated, very much agitated. Haranti prabhavamana. And what is it? Haranti prasabham mana. That the mind is dragged by force because of this. Senses are so strong. Indriyani pramathini. That is, senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of the man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. So our mind and senses, and when this particular indriya is said here, it talks about our mind, our indriyas. Which indriyas? The karmendriyas and gyanendriyas. Govinda, can you tell which are the karmendriyas? Do you know gyanendriyas? Nose, tongue, eyes, ears, skin. They are they are gyanendriyas. Why that called gyanendriyas? Gyan indriya, that one can understand the knowledge, perceive the knowledge. And which are the karmendriyas? Hands, legs. Rishikesh? You don't know karmendriyas? Hands, legs, throat, anus and rectum. These are the karmendriyas by which the action is performed. So one has to control all of this. So there are 11 things to be controlled. So Krishna is saying here, Indriyani Pramathini, they are very much impetuous and they are very much strong. O Arjuna, yatoto yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitah. The person who has a steady mind, one who can discriminate what is good, what is bad, what is wrong, what is right. A person who has a good intelligence can only discriminate. So, person who can discriminate, a person who has the intelligence or capacity to discriminate, what happens to that person? These indriyas, these senses are so strong that they carry away the mind of such a person who is steady. So, the senses are very strong. That's why Prabhupada said that a fear I have is that my disciples are not fearful of Maya. They are not scared of Maya. We also feel like we are so careless so many times. हमको लगता नहीं है कि Maya is so strong, Maya can attack us in any way and anyhow. But she is Mahamaya. She is actually very strong. And then the proposals she put in front of you, the opportunities. So Prakriti Kriyamanani, she is Kriyaman. She is always active. Gune Karmani Sarvasha, by these three modes of material nature, ignorance, passion and goodness. And because of these three actions, she is always active. There are so many distractions that comes in front of a person who is trying to be Krishna conscious. So if we are careless, within a moment, like there is another verse we'll see, which talks about the wind is so powerful. Have you seen those boats which had curtains? What are they called? Shields. I'm talking about the boat. What are they called? The boat which has those wind sheets. Huh? Hoarding नहीं, ते असं हे असतं ना. हाँ. Selling नहीं.
Jahaz.
Sorry. Anyways, so you got it basically. So it is said that the wind is so powerful that it can sweep away that particular whole boat. So similarly, that is compared to a mind and the senses. The mind and senses are so strong that we will not understand that how our boat of Krishna consciousness is completely drawn, or it is sweep away. So that's why we have to be extremely careful. If we are not careful, then every moment there is danger. Padam padam yat vipadam na tesham. Every moment there is some danger. Like the soldiers on the war field, they are extremely conscious of walking. There may be some mines underground, and then it may blast. So they are extremely careful. So similarly, we should also be extremely careful in practice of Krishna consciousness, because these senses are very strong, and it can agitate a person of discrimination. It can agitate a person whose consciousness is stable, and that's why Krishna is giving you alarm. Krishna is giving you alert situation that be careful to Arjuna. So those persons who are sthita pragya are very, very rare. That's what Krishna is trying to indicate through this. So this particular word which comes about discrimination, vipaschita, full of discrimination of knowledge. So this is applied for yogis, jnanis, one who is trying to be a siddha. But one who is a pure devotee of Krishna will not get disturbed and agitated. And we saw the example of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur in Pulia, and also Haridas Thakur in what is that village? Benapol. The Benapol is currently a part of Bangladesh. So in Bangladesh, the 3 days that prostitute came to him to disturb, and all 3 days he told that you sit and chant, or you just sit. And then 3rd day she started chanting and she got transformed. So that is the power of a devotee. That is the power of being Krishna conscious. You can transform others. Like in yesterday's purport in Bhagavatam, it is said that Lord is Vishuddha Sattva, and when Hiranyakashipu came in the touch with Lord, when he came in contact, he got transformed into Vishuddha Sattva. Hiranyakashipu started transforming not only from passion or ignorance, he immediately moved to a Vishuddha Sattva, that is transcendental goodness. So similarly, one who is a devotee of Krishna, he can transform others, and he can make others to control his senses and their senses and mind. So point is, basically this particular verse talks about those jnanis who have studied knowledge, who have thorough knowledge of Vedic scriptures. They can discriminate what is right, what is wrong, but then unfortunately, because they have not developed the higher taste, the previous verse which talks about higher taste, rasavarja rasopasya, in the previous word, this word rasa comes. Rasa means juice. The juice comes from interaction. Whatever rasa we see, Shantaras, Dasyaras, Madhuraras, Vatsalyaras, Sakhyaras, all these rasas have interaction. Why we say always that Bhakti Yoga is superior to all yogas? Like Nishkama Karma Yoga is close to Bhakti Yoga, we say. Buddhi Yoga is close to Bhakti Yoga. But we don't say it is Bhakti Yoga, because Bhakti Yoga has a speciality, that is rasa. That loving mellows the relationship. That's what we'll see this in detail in Rasamrut Sindhu, Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu. That because Bhakti has so much of juice, and that's why it is a higher thing. It develops the higher taste. We'll see that detail. Everything will come in the study. Okay.
Man of discrimination in society is the same. It is just as simple as knowledge, the people with knowledge, the person with knowledge.
Person with a proper Vedic knowledge. We'll also see so many jnanis, na? In this world also so many panditas, Sanskrit scholars, or there are scientists, and there are so many other people who have some knowledge. But this particular knowledge is about the Vedas, which is from the Vedas. Because this has a connection with verse number 62-63. 52-53, which is talking about one who is into a Vedic knowledge, or one who has studied these flowery words of Vedas thoroughly. Always try to connect with the previous verses. Okay, verse number 61. In this particular verse, Prabhupada is talking about Yamunacharya purport. We'll see that. Without engaging the mind in Krishna, Mila, found? Next part of the purport, before the verse. Without engaging the mind in Krishna, one cannot cease such a material engagement. A practical example is given of Sri Yamunacharya, a great saint and a devotee, who says, Yad avadhi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde navanava rasa dhamni udyat vrat rantum asta tad avadhi vatad nari sangama sampramane Bhavati mukha vikara shushtu nishchitam cha. Since my mind, we are reading verse number 60 purport. Since my mind has engaged in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor. Whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. So, this is the consciousness of devotee who is completely Krishna consciousness, he develops. You know, he when whatever kind of sense object or sense enjoyment or the desire for sense comes into his mind, he spit at the thought. विचार भी आया तो उसमें नहीं बोलता है. He says, no, I don't want to get into it. So all of you know the life of Yamunacharya. I hope you know the whole story of Yamunacharya.
सांगता का?
सांगतोय का ऋषी विश्वामित्र?
नाही तुम्ही सांग.
Okay. So we'll study you can also study the life of Rishi Vishwamitra also.
ते सांगू शकतो.
So Yamunacharya Yamunacharya was a king. Before becoming a king, he was a son of a Brahmana. So he was living with his grandfather. He was a Brahmana. Kim asit, kim prabhaset, nothing comes, nowhere it comes. So Yamunacharya, he was a small boy that time when his father left his body, and then he was living with his grandfather. And then this boy, when he was 7 years old, he was very, very scholarly and he was very intelligent. And this boy was invited, he was very intelligent, he was a Brahmana boy. So once in the palace of a king of that area, there was a debate between this boy and the Panditas of that particular kingdom. And then he put forward his points. So there are some, the three arguments he puts. He says that, the queen is, what is that, barren? Barren is the right word? Yeah, without disappointing the queen, he had to answer. Without disappointing king and queen, he had to answer those three questions. So this boy, he puts forward this particular thing, and then those Panditas, they could not. They put forward this particular thing, and this boy say, yeah, it is true, and then he answers, and then that's how, the king and queen, they become very happy with this particular boy, and in return they give half of the kingdom to this boy. That because you won this particular debate, you will get the half of the kingdom, and then he becomes a king. And not only that, they give daughter also in marriage to this boy. So from that particular time, till many years, this boy was completely immersed into sense gratification, because eventually he became a king, and then he had a kingdom, he had followers, he had money, he had praja, everything. So he was enjoying for a long time. And then his grandfather of Yamunacharya was seeing all this thing, and he was feeling a lot of pain at his heart, because he was saying that he's a Brahmana, he should be a Vaishnava, he should worship Lord, he should be Krishna conscious. Many times our spiritual teachers also become unhappy, our gurus also become unhappy seeing our situation, that we are not trying to be Krishna conscious and we are emerged into sense gratification. I also feel very pain many times seeing our devotees don't attend Bhakti Shastri class for weeks together, and they are engrossed, immersed into their own happy moments. So that's not very good. If you can attend regularly Bhakti Shastri class, I'll be very happy. So this grandfather was feeling very, very much pain, and his grandfather was a great devotee of Lord. And then he was also going to depart. He was becoming very old. So this grandfather had a disciple named Rama Mishra. And this Rama Mishra, he told his disciple that, can you please go and take care of my grandson? He is completely away from being Krishna conscious. He is born in a Brahmin family, but he is not worshipping Lord, but he is completely engrossed in sense gratification. And then after a few days, this grandfather left his body, and this Rama Mishra went to Yamunacharya. Now Yamuna, whatever his name was previously, eventually he became one of the Acharya, one of the Alvar in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. So this Rama Mishra, he used to go regularly to this person's kingdom, but then he was not able to approach Yamunacharya because they were not allowing to meet. So what he did that he caught the cook of Yamunacharya, and he started giving one vegetable called tuduvalai. Tuduvalai is a leafy vegetable from South India. So he started giving this tuduvalai sabji to this cook, and then cook used to cook this particular sabji and give to king. So this Rama Mishra ji, he started coming every day, and every day he started giving this particular vegetable. And then for 1 month, 2 months he gave this particular vegetable. And then king started liking this. King wanted this particular vegetable every day. But then you can stand for some time. After that, after 2 months he stopped giving that particular vegetable. And then king said, "Arey, what is happening? Why I am not getting this particular sabji?" He called the cook. Then this cook said that one suddenly old Brahmana is to come, he is to give, and then can you call that Brahmana? And I want to know what is that subject. And then that's how he got the entrance to, opportunity to meet this king. And then this particular Brahmana said, "O king, I was a disciple of your guru. And while going, your guru has, my guru, your grandfather has kept lot of treasury in one of the farm. It is hidden there." So king became very happy. He said, "Oh, I want more money. Let's go. Immediately we'll go." So they sat in the chariot and they went for long distance, long drive. And then while going in that whole journey, this particular Guru Rama Mishra, who is the Guru of Yamunacharya, he spoke the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in that whole journey. And then he heard that all of that, and then his heart got transformed. He remembered that I used to recite all these slokas in my childhood. I knew this knowledge, but then it got covered. I forgot it. It happens in our case also, no? That, so many slokas we have recited, so many verses we have recited, so many activities we have done. But then covering of enjoyment comes upon it, and then we forget. And then after reaching to this particular farm, he said, "Okay, fine, where is the treasure?" He said, "I already gave you the treasure in our journey. And this was the best treasure your grandfather gave to me to give it to you." And then after that, there was a transformation in Yamunacharya. And then he started practicing Krishna consciousness. And after that, he practiced it so much that he says that since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor. Nava Nava Rasad Dhamni. I enjoy the ever transcendental humor. Whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns it and I spit at the thought. He got so much detached from the senses and the sense enjoyment and the sense object that he felt it as a dirt, useless. Right? So this is how one can develop a higher taste. But unfortunately, one who has not developed the higher taste, even if he is a knowledgeable person, even if he can discriminate, the senses and mind are so strong that it can agitate him, it can disturb him a lot. So these verses, when it comes, we should always reflect in our own life what is happening with us. That's very important. Verse number 62 and 63. So 61. So here Krishna is talking about bhakti yoga clearly by saying a word mat paraha. We'll see. Tani sarvani संयम्य युक्त आसित मत्परः वशे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. His mind is fixed, his consciousness is fixed. Whose consciousness is fixed? One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of a steady intelligence. So, man of a steady intelligence is who? Which all things are said? One who restrains his senses. Tani sarvani sayyamya. Because of sayyam, he restrains his senses. Yukta asita matparaha. He fixes his consciousness upon me. So, this particular word matparaha is very important, where Krishna is first time saying that, like Krishna says, man manabho mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaro. Where what is Krishna saying? Worship me, offer obeisances to me, perform devotional service unto me. So that Krishna is spoken in the 9th chapter. But this is the first time Krishna is saying mat paraha, that fixed his consciousness upon me. Okay. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसित मत परः वशे ही यस्येन्द्रियाणि, कीपिंग द सेंसेस अंडर फुल कंट्रोल. वशीभूत करना पता है ना आपको? वशीभूत करना. Now they do black magic and then they control or they something वशीभूत करते हैं. They throw some limbo, they throw some something and then they try to do वशीभूत, कंट्रोल करना. और समटाइम घोस्ट वशीभूत, वो वशीकरण करता है. वशीकरण तो सुना होगा ना? व्हाट? हिप्नोटाइज इज डिफरेंट. वशीकरण करना, तो वशीकरण करता है तो क्या करता है? व्हेन द सोल ट्रांसफॉर्म, द सटल एंटिटी ऑल्सो वशीकरण, वो दूसरे के अंदर घुस जाता है, उसको पूरा कंट्रोल कर लेता है. लाइक रिसेंटली सम डिवोटीज वर इन यात्रा इन मायापुर and then suddenly when Prabhuji started, Prabhuji in the sense small boy, started speaking in a loud voice of a lady, Namaste Narasimhaya, in the voice of a Mataji. He was so much control and he was singing a Narasimharti. So everybody got a shock because she was the devotee Mataji who was in the subtle body in the previous in this life, and then she attacked that particular boy, and then this boy started shouting in the now completely sound in the sound of a Mataji. So he was completely vashibhut hua tha. So here this word when it says that vashehi yasya indriyani, after some time she left and then this devotee came back to Pune. Mayapur, this kind of incidents are quite common, don't worry. Vashehi yasya indriyani. So keeping the senses under full control. So one who is consciousness is fixed, steady consciousness, he can do vashikaran on the senses. That means he can control his senses. वशे ही यस्य इंद्रियाणि, अपने इंद्रियों के ऊपर वो पूरी तरह से नियंत्रण प्राप्त करता है. माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, इट इज पॉसिबल. Controlling our senses is possible. We can have a complete control on our senses, and our acharyas, there are so many pure devotees have proven. And then it is possible within a moment also. We should have that strong desire and we should have that strong practice. So what happens? The man with the steady, one who restrains his senses, keeping all on them under full control, fix his consciousness upon me. So this particular thing is very much important. Yukta asita matpara, that our consciousness has to be fixed on Krishna, Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra. That's very important. We should always, our life should be always centered around Krishna. That is, how I can best serve Radha Vrindavan Chandra. What will please Radha Vrindavan Chandra. So many times we have to take decisions whether to do this or not. So our decision has to be based whether this will please my Guru and Krishna. If you ask this question, if you get the answer for this question, there is no confusion. We can easily get the answer. Will this please Guru and Krishna? If it is pleasing to Guru and Krishna, whatever decisions we take will be perfect. Otherwise, we can be a very smart guy who can take many best decisions in his life, but then if he is not consulting or not considering Guru and Krishna, he will not be able to take a very correct decisions. Anyways, why I came to this particular thing? Because fixed his consciousness upon me. Krishna is clearly saying that to control his senses, to get the higher taste, to be a steady in his consciousness and in intelligence, he has to always be Krishna conscious, keeping his consciousness in Krishna. That's very important.
प्रभूजी गेले काय? प्रभूजी गेले. झोपू नको रे आदिनाथ, झोपाळे.
BVRVचं नेट संपलं काय वाटतं. थांब रे 2 मिनिटं. चार्जिंग संपली लॅपटॉपची. येतात परत.
His nostril in smelling the flavor of the flower offered at the lotus feet of the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulasi leaf offered to him, his legs in traveling to the holy place where his temple is situated, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, his desire in fulfilling the desire of the Lord, and all these qualifications made him fit to become a Matparaha devotee of the Lord. The Matparaha devotee, that one whose consciousness is completely in Krishna, is possible by doing all these things. And that's the reason come to temple, render services in the temple, and keep our mind always in Krishna consciousness, fix. So he is talking about all of that. That his mind is fixed in Krishna, his words are used for describing the Lord's abode. This is very important. What language we are speaking, what words we are speaking, that's very important. After doing a Nirjal Ekadashi, we are congratulating some cricket players, or we are jumping into some whatever XYZ things, is not very favorable for being Krishna conscious. So our words has to be engaged in describing the abode of the Lord. Can somebody describe the abode of the Lord? Krishna is speaking that in Bhagavad Gita. Anything from Bhagavad Gita? तिथे लाईट नसते, मग काय अंधार असतो का? देर इज नो नीड ऑफ लाईट देअर, इट्स सेल्फ इल्युमिनेटेड. इटर्नल. ओके, वर्स. विश्वामित्र प्रभू, वर्स.
आठवतंय.
तद्धाम परमम मम इज द लास्ट लाइन ऑफ दैट वर्स. ठीक है, आप बोल सकते हो. चिंता मणि प्रकर सत्म सुकल्प वृक्ष लक्षावृते सुरभीर. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो अबाउट ऑफ द लॉर्ड, बट आय वॉन्ट समथिंग फ्रॉम द भगवद गीता. शेवटचं सांगितलं ना. व्हेरी कॉमनली सेड, व्हेरी मच, यू नो इट व्हेरी वेल. तद्धाम परमम मम. ओके. न तद भासयते सूर्य न शशांको न पावकः यद गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमम मम. So if we by heart these verses, if we recite these verses, when we are with the devotees, when you are with your devotee friends, our words will be always describing about the abode of the Lord, about the beauty of the Lord. Indrajit Maharaj says he became a devotee in 1970, and on the third day they made him sit on Vyasasana. Imagine, on the third day of you being a devotee, you are told to give Bhagavatam class. And in those 3 days, he heard that Krishna is a blue in color. He wears yellow dhoti, he has a peacock feather, and Krishna means all attractive, and one should be Krishna conscious. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is what he spoke in his first Bhagavatam class. So, the point is, Prabhupada was sitting with some scholarly panditas from India, And Prabhupada was describing about the supremacy, Supreme Lord, and then there was so much discussion of Brahman, Paramatma, Absolute Truth, Param Satya, so much. And then the Prabhupada said that, who is Supreme Lord? And then they were not able to come to any conclusion, who is Supreme Lord. And then there was a Saraswati, Malti Mataji's daughter. She just came into the room of Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada asked her, who is Krishna, Saraswati? Saraswati said, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada said, very good, come here. And then Prabhupada had cookie with her, gave cookies to her. She became very happy. She went out. And then Prabhupada said a very important sentence to this intelligent person. Even a child in our moment knows who is Krishna or who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are at the very glorious place. You must have heard today's Bhagavatam class. Prabhuji used this particular word so many times कि हम कितने glorious जगह पे हैं. So the point is that we have found something which is best, but are we utilizing it? Are we taking a benefit of it? We have found something best, but we are not being Matparaha devotee, but we are being Tatparaha devotee, somebody else's devotee. So we should not be somebody else's devotee, we should be devotee of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by being a Krishna conscious, one can easily be Sthita Pragya. So here Amrish Maharaj is telling that mind is fixed on Krishna, his words are used for describing the beauty or the abode of Krishna, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord. Very soon there is going to be a Gundisha Marjana, please participate. Otherwise also every day like our Parama Karuna Prabhu comes for backup. So similarly other devotees also can come wash the vessel, or since Siddhant Prabhu also comes. So you also started, right, Prasad? Backup? So we can also participate in cleaning the temple of the Lord, cleaning the vessels for the Lord. Body in touching the body of the devotee, not by beating each other. His nostril in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. So it's better to smell the flowers. There is gulaba, there is keshara, there is chandana, so many fragrant things which are offered to Krishna, and we can take those flowers than tasting some blackberry and butter. What is that? Whatever perfumes or whatever flavors of ice cream or flavors of these, that, so many things. Better to take the flavor of fragrance of the Lord's offered to the flower. Any pastime of somebody got transformed because of the smell? Okay, what is the verse? So this comes in when the Jai Vijay got curse in Bhagavatam, and when after getting a Jai Vijay got this curse, Lord came running to the gate, and then when Lord came there, they did not even see the beauty of the Lord, but they just smell the Tulasi Chandana offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. And they say that when the fragrance of the Tulasi Chandana entered into our nostril, before that they were Brahmavadis. They were not the worshippers of Bhagavan. They were not the devotee of Lord. But then immediately their heart got completely transformed and they surrendered completely to Lord Narayana, Lord Vishnu. So the nostril should be, No, this is not that verse. Chandana Mishra Tulasi. Okay, we'll study that. His tongue in tasting the Tulasi leaf offered to him. So we should not say no to the Tulasi leaf in Mahaprasad or Tulasi leaf offered. There are some devotees who every day come to collect the Tulasi leaf after Mangal Arti, and then they go on distributing to devotees. They get pleasure distributing that, and they themselves also honor without fail. So Tulasi, Maha Tulasi is something which is very important, which we should always taste. We love to taste Rasamalai, but then with that Rasamalai, the main rasa is of Tulasi. So we should take that. Then his legs in traveling to the holy place where the temple is situated, where we are using our legs to travel, that also is very important. His head in offering obeisances unto the Lord. So it's very important that whenever we go to temple, we offer obeisances. Otherwise, it is said that if this head is not bowing down in front of Lord's deity or Vishnu, then we should cut off this head. This head is useless if it is not offering oil. Like there are some, whenever I see devotees, some people, they enter into temple hall, especially with their brainless camera, and then they go around taking photos, videos, and they go out. They literally have seen within 2 minutes people going out with the camera. They either somebody else is watching through video, or they just click and they go away. And then photos are generally click to delete. They are not, those memories are to delete. So what is the use? So it's better that we offer obeisances. This head is to be used for offering obeisances, not for applying some gel and some shampoos and making it more beautiful. His desires in fulfilling the desire of the Lord. This is something which is very important. His desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. What does that mean, Radha Gokulantu? His desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. What does that mean? It means that what we spoke yesterday night. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a matparaha devotee of the Lord. So our desire has to be Krishna conscious. It should be only for the pleasure of Krishna. We should always say that this life is only for Krishna. This life is not for anybody else. It's only for Krishna. It's very important. Okay, let's go to next verse. The last part of, again, the next paragraph of this purport is important. The word matpara is most significant in this connection. How can one become matpara is prescribed in the life of Maharaj Amrish. Srila Badle Vidyabhushan, a great scholar and acharya in the line of matparaha, remarks Madbhakti Prabhavena Sarvendriya Vijaya Purvika Swatvam Drishti Sulabheti Bhavat. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of a devotional service to Krishna. Also, the example of a fire is sometimes given. As a blazing fire burns everything within the room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of a yogi, burns all kinds of impurities. Yoga Sutra also prescribes the meditation on Vishnu, not meditation on void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than Vishnu simply waste their time in vain search after another Panthasmovirya. We have to be Krishna conscious, devoted to the personality of Godhead. This is the aim of real yoga, that is Bhakti Yoga. So I hope everybody is remembering the sequence. We have discussed till now that how he sits, Siddha Pragya, जो devotee होता है, Kim Asit, that's what a discussion is going on. Next two verses also will describe about Kim Asit. We have studied this verse, next two verses very often, so we are not going to get into a detail. I have spoken around 7 to 8 hours only on these two verses. And many times we have spoken in our personal discussion. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्ते शुपजायते संगात् संजायते काम कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोह सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रम स्मृतिभंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So this is a complete sequence, chain A, one after another. If you do this, this will happen, this and this will happen. This will lead to this and that will lead to pranashyati, complete fall down. So we'll see that sequence. So first thing is dhyato, ध्यान लगाना. किसके ऊपर? Sense object के ऊपर. We are just told yukta asita matparaha, that our dhyana has to be on Krishna. If our dhyana is on Krishna, then it will be helpful. Dhyayato, but unfortunately the dhyana is on what? Vishaya vastu. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa, the sense object. So because of the contemplation, Dhyana, it leads to attachment. Dhyayato vishan pumsa sangasteshupajayate. The sanga also says attachment or association. So whenever we are we are meditating on sense object, we are meditating on, we try to take association of that sense object. Basically, a boy is attracted to a girl, he meditates on that beauty of that girl, and then he wants to take association of that girl. All of you remember that example of NIT Warangal? I speak in this connection.
Yes.
So this particular verse, we'll see after the whole sequence. We'll see. Dhyayato visham sumsa, Prem Charu bro. Dhyayato vishan pumsa sangasteshupajayate. Because of the attachment, what happens? Sangat sanjayate kama. The lust is developed. The third thing, first is what? Contemplation. Contemplation leads to attachment. Attachment leads to lust. Sangat sanjayate kama. Kamat krodho vijayate. Because of the kama, lust, it turns into krodha. It becomes, a person becomes angry. Anger comes. So the fourth thing is anger. And then because of anger, what happens? Krodad bhavati sammoha. That it completely get into delusion. Sammoha. It's not just moha, it's sammoha. It is over. Too much of illusion, too much of delusion. Completely into a delusion. Sammoha. And because of sammoha, so contemplation, attachment, lust, anger, delusion. Then delusion leads to bewilderment of memory. What is it? Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smruti vibhram. The smruti का completely नाश होता है. Bewilderment of memory. Smruti bhamshat buddhi nasho. There is loss of intelligence. And then because of loss of intelligence, persons fall down. Buddhi nashat vinashyati. He is completely finished. Vinashyati is, material pool. Prabhupada translates that as a material pool. He falls into a material pool. That means he is completely bloop. Bloop is the terminology used in ISKCON. Like if you put a stone in the water, there is a sound which comes bloop. And then it's very difficult to find out that stone. It is a fall down. It fall down so badly, does not remember. So, generally this particular verse is seen somebody who is kami, one who is lusty. But then also we should put other anarthas also in a picture, and we should also see that am I falling down? Another important thing is that we should always check every day also this particular verse we are going through and we fall down. Every day, on the everyday basis also we fall down. If you actually see, we are meditating on some sense object. And because of that sense object, we want to attain the sense object. And because you want to attain, like I give this example of a boy who is sick, he goes to a doctor, and when he goes to a doctor recommends him, he gives the prescription, gives the medicine and says, you should not eat any oily thing. And then he comes out of doctor's clinic, goes to a pharmacist and then takes a medicine, and then after that he starts walking towards his house, and there is a Joshi Vade Wale, and then he smells a fragrance coming out of those vada, or some vada pav, and he say, "Nee, doctor ne bola I should not take," but then mind says, "Thoda sa." So dhyayate vishyan pumsa sangaste shubhajayate. He develops a desire to have that attachment, to have the association of that vada pav. And he goes to that particular shop, buys two vada pav, and then his mind is saying no, but then intelligence is saying no, mind is saying yes. All this battle is going on, and by that time he eats the vada pav. And then because of eating the vada pav, he becomes more sick. The fever increases. And then he's angry. Why did I follow that? Because of my lust, because of my attachment, because I want to have something, I'm completely disturbed. And that attachment, he does something wrong. So krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat viksupati vibrama, smruti vamshat buddhi nashat pranashyati. So this may happen on daily basis also with us. So we should actually check, find out where am I leading my life. And that's why mat paraha is very important. Fix our consciousness on Krishna always is very important. So in this particular sequence, contemplation, attachment leads to lust, leads to anger, anger leads to delusion, delusion leads to loss of memory leads to loss of intelligence, and loss of intelligence leads to vinashyati, fall down. So I give this example of NIT Warangal boy who took admission in NIT Warangal. This is a real story. Happened around 15 years before. So he took admission in this particular very prestigious college. After going there, he studied nicely for 6 months, but after 6 months, he started meditating on a sense object. Dhyayeto Vishan Pumsa. Then he started meditating on a girl, and then they got in relationship. First year passed, he lived very happy whatever life, and then after some time, he wanted to have more and more association. So for that he started cheating his parents. He was coming from a poor background, and he started telling parents that I want to go for this course, that course. So parents took some loan, and they were regularly providing him money, and with that money he was developing the more and more attachment, and he purchased a bike, and then he used to go around with her and all. So by the second year, he became more and more attached to this particular love. And then after, in second year, because of extreme attachment, he failed. And this girl entered into third year, and he still remained in the second year only. And then third year, somehow the relationship was going, but then there was a lot of disturbance. And then there a breakup happened by the middle of third year. And then they departed, they started staying separately and all. Beginning of the the girl's fourth year, he saw this girl going around with somebody else on somebody else's bike. And then he remembered all of that he did for this particular girl, but unfortunately his memory was lost. He did not remember what hard work his parents have done. And he became angry. Because of anger, he loss of memory. Because of loss of memory, loss of intelligence. He forgot why did he come to this NIT Warangal. Why he studied so nicely in his JEE Advanced, whatever means. So much why endeavor he had to put, so he had put already. And what is the purpose of his life? Completely forgot. And he got so angry, so disturbed, so agitated, so much memory loss, so much intelligence loss. He came exactly in between the main choke of NIT Warangal, took out petrol from his own vehicle, put the petrol on himself and the vehicle and burned. And he was died. He was completely dead that time. And this is a real story. And this is what happens. Dhyayeto Vishan Pumsa Sangaste Shubhajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama. Kama is not satisfied, it turns into Krodha. Krodhat Sambhavati Sammoha. He completely gets into delusion. You don't understand why, what, where. What are you doing because of the lust? And then delusion turns into loss of memory, Smriti Bhamshat. And then after Smriti Bhamsha, Buddhi Nasho, the loss of intelligence completely. This happens when in the life of a practitioner also. We many times forget the purpose why I have joined ISKCON, why am I wearing Kantimala, why I took initiation. We many times forget this particular purpose because of this loss of memory and loss of intelligence. And then once the intelligence is lost, fall down, completely vanquished. So this is a very, very important. And then for that, what is important? We should not give any opportunity for Maya. So for that, what is important? That we should be engaged, thoroughly engaged. Are we engaged 24/7? Yes, we are. If you are called to temple for some reason, Prabhuji, I am busy. If you are asked to chant some extra rounds, no, I am busy. If you are asked to read or hear, no, I am busy. This is what we say. Every time we say, I am busy, 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 doing what? That only all of you know. What you are exactly busy at. So we should not give time for Maya. This is what we learn from this particular verse. If you are giving time for Maya, we'll immediately get caught up in dhyana, then contemplation leads to attachment, leads to lust, and all of that. Okay? So please read the purport. Prabhupada has given amazing purport on these two verses. Verse number 64. Now 64 to 72, Krishna is going to talk about how he walks. Kim Vrajet. how this Sthitapragya devotee walks. And these verses are very nice. How a devotee is, he depends on Krishna. For him, Krishna is the, after attaining the Krishna Prasad, how his consciousness is pure, all of that we'll study. Verse number 64. Ragadesha vimuktestu Vishayan indriya charan Atmavaisha vidheryatma प्रसादम अधिगच्छति. घेतला ना सगळ्यांनी प्रसाद. प्रसादम अधिगच्छति. But a person free from all attachment and aversion, raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion, and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom. This particular word is very important. The regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. What does that mean, regulative principle of freedom? 4 regulative principles. But the word is freedom is used, regulative principles of freedom. कितने लोगों को 4 नियमों का पालन करना freedom लगता है? नहीं. Is it a freedom? But Prabhupada is translating here regulative principle of freedom. स्थितप्रज्ञेसाठी, and then we are trying to be स्थितप्रज्ञ. So, what are you thinking? Yes, it is freedom from being slave of the senses. You have heard this example from me. I'll just repeat the example of a kite. Patanga. Kite जो होता है, you tie a manja to it. Proper ऐसा मस्त एकदम measurement लेके अगर आप मांझा बांध देते हो, and then somebody takes that and then उड़ा दे हो, you give ढील दे दे रे बाबा, and then after giving ढील, that patanga is going in the sky, it's nicely flying, and then you are enjoying, the patanga is enjoying, it's going very nicely. But then somebody comes in between और वो काट देता है आपकी पतंग, फिर आपका क्या होता है? कटी पतंग होता है. और ये कटी पतंग कहाँ जाती है? कोई झाड़ में जाके गिर जाती है. It goes into some water, some scooter, some vehicle goes on it, it goes into a fire, it burns, right Govind? So this kati patang can go anywhere. So these regulative principles are like this manja tied to a patanga. आपको ये बंधा है, और बंधने के बाद if that is in your control, in Krishna's control, दीन बंधु दीनानाथ मेरी डोरी तेरे हाथ. तो ये पतंग की डोरी जो है वो दीन बंधु दीनानाथ के हाथ में अगर देंगे तो पतंग बहुत अच्छी तरह से उड़ता है हवा में. बट जैसे कोई बीच में आता है माया और वो काट देता है, या हम बोलते हैं, वो पतंग बोलता है चल मैं तो मेरे हिसाब से जाऊंगा, मेरे हिसाब से उड़ूंगा. वो कल के क्वेश्चन थे ना, मैं ऐश करूंगा. तो अगर कोई बोलेगा कि आई विल लिव माई लाइफ अकॉर्डिंग टू माई प्रिंसिपल्स, और बोलेगा मैं अगर ऐश करूंगा, तो वो जो है वो पतंग कट जाएगा, और वो पतंग कट के फिर कटी पतंग जाके जलेगा. संसार दावा नल निढलो का, इस बर्निंग फॉरेस्ट मटेरियल में वो मरता रहेगा, जलता रहेगा. तो इसलिए उसको जो मांझा जो है, जो बंधन है, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो दिस रेगुलेटरी प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ फ्रीडम, क्योंकि वो रेगुलेटरी प्रिंसिपल फॉलो कर रहा है, ही इज फ्री, ही हैज अ फ्रीडम टू गो अराउंड इन द स्काई. But a person who does not have a regulative principle in his life, what happens to him? Smoking करेगा, drinking करेगा, womanizing करेगा. What is going to have? He is going to have diseases. He has to go behind the bars. He has to suffer so much. Whoever is breaking a regulative principle has to suffer for default. There is no one who can say नहीं हम तो बच जाएंगे, हम तो छूट जाएंगे. So इसलिए regulative principle of freedom is understood through this example of a patang. So मेरी डोरी तेरे हाथ, कृष्ण आप मेरी पतंग, लाइफ का पतंग उड़ाओ, मैं आपके साथ ही जुड़ के रहना चाहता हूँ. This is something which is very important. So a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. So he can attain prasadam adhigacchati. Word prasad means mercy. prasadam adhigacchati, he can attend Krishna's mercy. So we are always desiring for a mercy of Lord. We are always going to Krishna and saying, Krishna, please shower your mercy upon me. So this is how we can attain mercy of Krishna. How we can attain mercy of Krishna? That is explained in verse number 61. Matparaha, that having fixed our consciousness on Krishna, and then avoiding all other things, all 8 things which are spoken in the verse number 60 to 63, or all the sequence of verses which are talking that how we should control our mind, we should control our senses, our mind should be completely fixed on Krishna, our karmendriyas and gyanendriyas are used in Krishna's service. If we are doing this, we can attain mercy of Krishna. Prasadam adhigacchati. So this particular word raga and dvesha is used here. Attachment and aversion. It is said that attachment and aversion are the two sides of the coin. Right? When you become attached to someone, it will turn into aversion after some time. And this is what happens. And this is so commonly seen in current generation. So if you are attached to something, it will lead to aversion. But if you are attached to Krishna, it will not lead to aversion. It will lead to a more and more love and attachment towards Krishna. So attachment to any material sense object will lead to aversion. So Krishna is telling attachment also and aversion also. Be free from it. Raga dvesha vimuktestu. You completely be free from it. Vimukta, mukta ho jao. Vishayan indriyascharan. This particular word, indriyascharan. Vishayan indriyascharan. So indriyas are meditating on vishaya. Vishaya is sense object. Charan is the word. Like charan refers to charana. Like चरते ना, गाय भैंस जो है ना वो जाती है, भेड़ कहीं पे भी चली जाती है और चरती रहती है, वो कंटिन्यूसली खाती रहती है, चरती रहती है. वैसे हमारे विषय जो है ना वो विषय वस्तु के ऊपर चरते रहते हैं. They keep on meditating on विषय वस्तु always. So विषयान इंद्रियस चरण, you completely be free from this विषय विषय वस्तु. उसके ऊपर जो मेडिटेट करते हैं, उसको खाते रहते हैं, उसके ऊपर ध्यान लगाए रहते हैं, उससे बाहर निकलो. तो जो अटैचमेंट और अवर्जन से बाहर है, जो विषय और विषय वस्तु के ऊपर जो मेडिटेशन है उससे बाहर है, वैसे व्यक्ति क्या करेगा? आत्म वैश्य विधेर आत्मा. He will follow the regulative principles of freedom, and by doing that he will attain prasadam adhigacchati. He can attain a mercy of Krishna. Okay, so everybody is desiring for prasad. By so we can get that prasad by these particular things. And after explaining this, Krishna is explaining verse number 65, which is talking about the result of attaining prasad. Prasadam adhigacchati, abhi prasad milega, aisa bola hai. You will attain the mercy of Krishna. What will happen after attaining the mercy of Krishna? He is explaining verse number 65. Rishikesh, what is explained in verse number 65? Prasadam adhigacchati, that means one will receive the mercy of Krishna. And when one receives the mercy of Krishna, what will happen? Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirastu pajayate prasanna chetana hasu buddhi parivashishtate. So please note this also. This is your verse for recitation. Okay, this particular verse is there for you for recitation. Even if it is not there in exam, it is going to come in your exam. 65 also. Also this verse number 59 also. Okay, verse number 59, verse number 65 is also part of your recitation, memorization. And verse number 56 also. 56. Just check whether that is. Verse number 54 also. Verse number 54, verse number 56, then verse number 59 and verse number 65 is for recitation. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirastu pajayate prasanna chetana hasu buddhi parivashishtate. So what he is saying? Prasade sarva dukkhanam. If we get prasad, sabhi jo dukh hai hanirastu pajayate, it will be completely eradicated. By the mercy of Krishna, all the miseries in your life will be completely eradicated. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rastu pajayate. And then what will happen? Dukkha to chala jayega. उसके बाद व्हाट विल हैपन, प्रसन्न चेतना हासु. After Nirjal Ekadashi, when you took the morning khichdi and after drinking that lemon juice, ha 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 ha, prasanna chetana hasu, I attained the very pleasing consciousness. I got, मैं प्रसन्न हो गया. And then what will happen? In such a satisfied consciousness, prasanna chetana, buddhi parivashishtate, one intelligence will soon be well established. Tasya pradnya pratishtita is also similar to buddhi parivashishtate, that his mind will be completely steady, his intelligence will be completely steady, his consciousness will be completely steady. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such a satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So, my dear friends, which are the three modes, three material miseries, three tap?
अधिभौतिक, आदिदैविक, आध्यात्मिक.
Adi bhautik, adi devik, adi atmik klesha. So, one will be free from this klesha. How many of you want to be free from this klesha? नहीं तो फिर मैं दूंगा. If you say no, then I'll give. आदि भौतिक क्लेश, आदि आत्मिक क्लेश, that is आध्यात्मिक क्लेश, and आदि दैविक क्लेश, that is दैविक क्लेश. So one will be completely free from all these three kleshas. By what? Prasade. So sarva dukkha is referred to these three material miseries. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rastu pajayate. He'll be completely free from three modes of material, three material miseries, threefold material miseries. And prasanna chetana hasu, he will attain a very pleasant consciousness. Prasanna chetana. How many of you want to have prasanna chetana? Always want to be prasanna, happy. Ojasvi doesn't want? So prasanna chetana is always expected, and that's why we are endeavoring. So prasanna chetana hasu, we are endeavoring for that. And
होऊ
then,
शकतं का असं?
yes, Rishi Vishma Prabhu.
अहो, ऑलवेज कसं काय हॅपी राहू शकतं एखादं?
When you attain the mercy of Krishna, it is possible. This is what Krishna is saying. And this is what devotees have experienced. There are pure devotees who are always happy. They are not miserable. They are not crying, weeping. They are not worried. They are always happy. After Nirjala Ekadashi also they are happy. And after feast also they are happy. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rastu pajayate prasanna chetana hasu buddhi parivishashtite. This is how a person, this is the result of attaining prasad. Further, Krishna is speaking about, now abhi kya bataya ki one who has attained the mercy of Krishna is happy, peaceful, and his buddhi, his mind, his intelligence is completely steady. Now he is going to tell about one who is not connected to Krishna, one who does not attain the mercy, what happens to him. So one who is not connected to Krishna, no peace, no happiness. Bhai Shambhu says this, na? No Krishna, what is that? No Krishna, no peace, no Krishna, no peace. No Krishna, N-O Krishna, no peace. No Krishna, K-N-O-W, no peace. No Krishna, no peace, no Krishna, no peace. So here this verse is talking about, if there is no, you are not connected to Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no peace, no happiness. Nasti buddhir yuktasya, nacha yuktasya bhavana, nacha bhavayata shantir, shantasya kuta sukham. One who is not connected with the Supreme Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Shantasya kutha sukham. If there is no peace, there is no question of happiness. भगवान खुद बोल रहे हैं यहाँ पे, शांति अगर नहीं होगा तो पीस नहीं होगा, वो सुखी नहीं होगा. जैसे प्रज्ञा के ऊपर ध्यान मत दो, वैसे शांति के ऊपर ध्यान मत दो. ये तो आप बोलेगे प्रभुजी ने बोला था शांति मेरे जीवन में नहीं रहेगी तो मेरे जीवन में सुख नहीं रहेगा. तो शांतस्य कुतः सुखम. If there is no shanti, There is no question of sukha, Krishna is saying. So how one can get a shanti? When he has a steady mind. तो यहाँ पर अगर उसको steady mind भी नहीं रहेगा. क्यों steady mind नहीं रहेगा? Because no transcendental intelligence. So there is no transcendental intelligence, no steady mind, and there is no possibility of peace. And if there is no peace, no question of happiness. So how many of you are trying to be happy in this world? How many of you want happiness? We are always happy, Broji, है ना? So nasti buddhir yuktasya, if that my Hare Krishna, pay attention. I want peace in my life, pay attention. One who is not connected with the nasti buddhir yuktasya, one who is not connected to Supreme Personality of Godhead, nacha yuktasya bhavana, if he is not Krishna conscious, nacha bhavayata shanti, he will not attain peace, and then if there is no peace, there is no question of sukha. Purport: unless one is Krishna conscious, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, verse number 529, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all good results. What is the verse number 59? Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram surudam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shanti mrishyati. So this is a peace formula. One can attain shanti by what? By knowing three things. Which are the three things? Param Karuna Prabhu, pata hai? Mihir, which are the three things which one should know by which one can attain shanti? Peace formula. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. Krishna is the bhokta, enjoyer of all yajnas, all karmas. Whatever activity we are doing, the enjoyer is Krishna. We are not the enjoyer. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. Sarva loka maheshwaram. He is the owner of all three lokas. सारी भूमि गोपाल की. बोलने के लिए नहीं. मैं ऐसे बोलते सारी भूमि गोपाल की मेरा फ्लैट छोड़ के. So Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, whatever lokas are there, 14 planets, he is Ishwara of that. Not only one Brahmanda, all Brahmandas, he is Ishwara of that. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Surudham Sarvabhutanam, he is the ever well-wisher of every living entity who is situated, Surudha, he is very dear to your heart, he is well-wisher. If you know these three things, if you follow these three things, then Gyatma Mam Shantim Rushyati. Please note this, you will know that you will attain the supreme peace. Gyatva Mam Shantir Mrishyati, one will attain the peace. This is the peace formula. And that's what the Prabhupada is quoting here. When one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of the good results of the sacrifice and the penances, he is the proprietor of all universal manifestation, and he is the real friend of all living entities, then only can have real peace. Therefore, if one is not Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. Sorry, what disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. When one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, friend of everyone and everything, then one can with steady mind bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can achieved only in the relationship with Krishna. The last line is very important. Okay. So after explaining this, now prasade sarvada, because of the mercy of Krishna, one will attain the peace. But if you are not connected to Krishna, you will never attain a peace. So person who is not connected to Krishna, his mind and senses are agitated. And in mind and senses, when they are agitated, it will carry away the intelligence. Well, there are steady people, there are intelligent people. Because mind and senses are not controlled, the intelligence is weak. Intelligence can be easily carried away. We see this example of a chariot driver, horses. You know that example? Who is a chariot driver? हमारा chariot driver mind ही रहेगा. We will always make our mind. Intelligence is a chariot driver. The reins in his hand is mind. The senses are the five senses. The five horses are the senses. And the passenger is soul, ourself. So that soul will be peaceful if the chariot is going peacefully. The soul will not be a peaceful if the chariot is going havoc. So that's why senses and mind has to be controlled, and that control has to be in the hand of intelligence. Tasya pradnya pratishtita. Buddhi parivishishtate, that buddhi will be steady. That is possible. So that's why intelligence has to be fixed. And to make the intelligence fixed, we have to study Bhakti Shastri very enthusiastically, even if the time is over. Okay? Yes, we are going to finish. Very good, thank you. Verse number 67. Indriyanam hi charatam. Utsaha, I said enthusiastic. One should be enthusiastic to study. Indriyanam hi charatam. Yanmano anuvidhiyate. Tasya hariti pradnya. Vayurnavam imam hasi. So this particular line I was saying that Vayur navam bimam vasi, that just a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water. अगर जोर से हवा आता है तो it will sweep away the boat on the water. So there is a boat on the water which is going. So similarly our life we have to cross this whole material ocean. This material ocean is a very huge material ocean. But if somebody is taking the boat of a intelligence, boat of a knowledge, not intelligence, boat of a knowledge, that is scriptural knowledge, and he is steady, that boat is also steady, then he can go ahead. He can peacefully cross this material ocean. But then any small distraction, agitation, which is like a wind, Krishna is giving this analogy of Vayur Navam Imam Vasi, that if this wind comes, then it will sweep away the whole boat. So that's why we have to be careful. So one who is agitated, when senses are agitated, his intelligence cannot be steady, his intelligence cannot be peaceful. इंद्रियानाम ही चरताम, चरण वापस चरने का बात कर रहे इधर. इंद्रिय जो है चरते रहते हैं. वो गाय जो होती है ना, उसको कभी भी भेजो वो चरती रहेगी, खाती रहेगी, खाती रहेगी, खाती रहेगी. और बैठेगी तो वो रवंत करेगी. रवंतला काय म्हणतात त्याला इंग्लिशमध्ये? रवंत करण्याला इंग्लिशमध्ये काय म्हणतात? हां, ल्युमिनेटिंग. तो ही विल अगेन ब्रिंग बैक एंड देन चरण, उधर भी चरना चालू होगा 24/7. तो इंद्रिया इज ऑल्सो लाइक दैट, दे आर ऑलवेज मेडिटेटिंग ऑन सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट. So indriyanam hi charatam, even one of the roaming senses. Now here it is, Krishna is giving even one sense. एक भी इंद्रिय जो है, माइंड हो सकता है, आईज हो सकते हैं, नाक हो सकता है, कोई भी एक इंद्रिय जो है वो सफिशिएंट है टू स्वीप अवे द होल बोट ऑफ नॉलेज. पूरा इंटेलिजेंस को पूरा उसका वाट लगाने के लिए एक भी इंद्रिय काफी है. इंद्रियानाम ही चरताम यन मनो अनुविधीयते, ऑन विच द माइंड इज फोकस्ड. सो जिसके ऊपर अपना इंद्रिय जो है, एक भी इंद्रिय अगर माइंड जो है उसके ऊपर अगर माइंड फोकस करता है, व्हाट हैपेंस, कैन कैरी अवे वंस इंटेलिजेंस, जस्ट एज द स्ट्रॉन्ग विंड स्वीप्स अवे द बोट ऑन द वाटर. Purport: unless all the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in the sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. We have to check, we have to always observe ourselves. कौन सा मेरा इंद्रिय जो है मुझे डिस्टर्ब कर रहा है? Eyes are disturbing, nose is disturbing, tongue is disturbing, ears are disturbing, और कर्मेंद्रियाज also. We have to find out. तो कृष्णा इज मेकिंग हियर अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट उसमें से एक भी, ओनली वन इंद्रिय ऑल्सो कैन डिस्टर्ब अस. One is sufficient to disturb us. So we have to be careful. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Amrish, all the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness. For that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. So that's why Krishna is talking about tasya pradnya pratishtita. We have to have a steady intelligence. So verse number 68 also talks about the steady intelligence. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigruhitani sarvasha indriyani indraarthebhyas tasya pradnya pratishtita. So sthita pragya devotee, sthita prajnasya ka bhasha, and that's why those who are steady in their intelligence, they are Tasya prajna pratisthita. Again it has come. So, therefore, O mighty armed, Krishna is calling Arjuna as a Mahabaho here. The mighty armed, one whose senses are restricted from their object is certainly of a steady intelligence. We can always have a steady intelligence. Purport: one can curb the force of a sense gratification only by the means of Krishna consciousness or engaging all senses in a transcendental loving service of the Lord. As enemies are curbed by the superior force, the senses can similarly be curbed not by any human endeavors, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. तो अगर हम भगवान की कृष्ण की सेवा में रहेंगे तो हम जो है अपने इंद्रियों को नियंत्रण में ला सकते हैं पूरी तरह से. One who has understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness is one really established in intelligence, that one should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is called a sadhaka or a suitable candidate for liberation. So Sthitapragya can conquer over the senses, and for that one has to take the shelter of a spiritual master. Under the guidance of a spiritual master, one will attain mercy of Krishna. When one attains the mercy of Krishna, he can easily conquer over all the senses and mind. But if he is not surrendering to Krishna, he will be not able to conquer over the senses and mind. Then there is no happiness, there is no peace, there is nothing in his life. So Arjuna's answer is going on that how he walks. Kim Vrajet. Kim Vrajet मतलब वो कहाँ कहाँ घूमता है, कैसे चलता है, क्या करता है, what he does. So in that discussion, how he sleeps also, what is his sleeping time, what is getting up time is also answered here. Sthitapragya's day and night is answered here. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagruti sayyami yasyam jagruti bhutani sa nisho pashyato muni. How many of you know this verse by heart? How many of you have by heart it is? No? Please note down. Verse number 69 also. This is my favorite chapter. If you can by heart all 71 verses, also wonderful. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam. What does that mean? सर्वभूत, सभी जो भूत होते हैं उनका जो सोने का समय है, उनका जो रात का समय है. या निशा सर्वभूतानाम तस्याम जागृति संयमी. जो संयमी व्यक्ति होता है, जो साधु होता है, उसका वो उठने का समय है. राइट? दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. All the boys in the hostel sleep at 4 o'clock, and all the brahmacharis in the ashram get up at 4 o'clock. All the devotees get up at 4 o'clock. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagruti संयमी यस्याम जागृति भूतानि. तो जब भूत जाग जाते हैं, सा निशा पश्यतो मुनि, एंड दैट इज अ टाइम फॉर मुनीज टू स्लीप. तो रात के 12 बजे दिन निकलता है, सुबह के 6 बजे रात होती है. अमची मुंबई was a song in our times, you don't know. But this is what the lifestyle of people currently. 12 बजे दिन निकलता है, 4 बजे रात होना चालू हो जाता है. 4 o'clock maximum young boys and girls are sleeping at 4 o'clock nowadays. That's a life of a sense gratifiers. That's a life of a sarvabhut. जो सर्व सामान्य जन है ना, common people. But then those who are devotee of Krishna, those who are Sayyami, they wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, practice their sadhana, which is spoken in the previous verse, that about the sadhaka under the spiritual master's instruction. He gets up in the morning, practices Krishna consciousness, chanting, reading, hearing, worshipping, all of that, and then goes early to bed, early to rise, keep you healthy, wealthy, wise. It's just not to say, but to practice. One should do that. Okay, please read the purport. Prabhupada is giving a very nice purport. We'll read some part of the purport. There are two classes of intelligent man. One is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to cultivation of self-realization. दो व्यक्ति है जो बुद्धिमान होते हैं या बुद्धिमान समझे जाते हैं. एक जो है, he is endeavoring a lot for sense gratification, and for that he is using his brain completely. How he can best enjoy in this material world. Another is actually an intelligent person who is awaking his Krishna consciousness. Activities of the introspective sage or the thoughtful man are night for the person's materially absorbed. Materialistic person remains asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self-realization. So Prabhupada is trying to explain us the day and night in a philosophical way. So a person who is in sense gratification is absorbed in doing some sense gratificatory activities. But Sanyam is not interested. For him it is night. For him it is a part of sleep. He puts himself in a sleeping mode when there is a sense gratificatory activities going on. But and it is exactly reverse. When a devotee is trying to do some spiritual activity, for him it is no, I don't want it, and then he'll put himself off. He will be sleeping. So that's what happens with the person who is awake, a person who is a Sanyami or a sense gratifier. The stage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of a spiritual culture, whereas the man is material activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams of a varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distress in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to a materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by the material reaction. Unfortunately, nobody tells this reality in this world. Everybody is trying to tell you that this material is nice. You can let. He is calling. Prabhupada is saying दो intelligent व्यक्ति है. तो उसमें से एक intelligent व्यक्ति जो अपने आप को समझता है, one who thinks that he is actually very intelligent, sense gratification give a lot of happiness. He tells you the 5 पैसे का circus, 25 पैसे का circus. How many of you know 25 पैसे का circus? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes this story. He tells that in the village there was a circus. And then everybody came, "Arey circus aa gaya," and then the speciality of that circus, the circus is of 25 paisa. Just 25 paise mein pura circus attend karne ko mile. So whole village comes there. Everybody is like gathering. We want ticket. Yes, we will enjoy circus. They say that only condition is that one person can only see the circus at one time. So if you have to enter into the tent of the circus, only one person can attend. So one by one they stood in the line, and one person entered, and then he came out. Then everybody ran towards him. Hey, kaisa tha circus? Yeah, it was nice, amazing, wonderful. I enjoyed it. So one by one, everybody was coming out, and then one intelligent person, he peeped inside. He saw through one small window, and उसने देखा कि अंदर जो कोई जाता है, उधर से 4-5 लोग आते हैं लकड़ी वकड़ी लेके, उसको जोरदार पीटते हैं, भयंकर पीटते हैं. एंड देन पीटता है, मार खाता है बहुत, और वो बाहर आता है ना, तो फिर वो एकदम स्ट्रेट अपना कॉलर टाइट करके बाहर आता है. और जैसे लोग पूछते हैं, अरे क्या सर्कस था, यू मस्ट वॉच इट. एग्जैक्टली दैट इज हैपनिंग इन दिस मटेरियल वर्ल्ड. Everybody is getting kicked by Maya, everybody is suffering because of the sense gratification, but when it comes to tell others, best है, करना चाहिए. One frustrated married person tells to another person, you must marry. This is just an example, you all can marry. So the point is, this is what is the 25 paisa ka circus. So that person who is materially very intelligent for sense gratification can take you nowhere. He will just make you suffer. But person who is awake in Krishna consciousness can actually help one to grow. So that's what a person who is sthita pragya, his day and night is different than the person who is engrossed in sense gratification. Verse number 70. Sthita pragya is not agitated by desire, is unagitated by desire. This is for homework if you don't want to study now. Okay. Apuryamanam achalam pratishtha samudramapam pravashanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravashanti sarve sa shanti mapnoti na kama kami. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desire that enters like a river into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, Ocean is always still, and that's why it is called as a Prashant. Prashanta Mahasagar. The ocean is called as a Prashanta. Prashanta means Prakrushta Rupena Shanta. Is always peaceful, still. So there are so many rivers which are entering into the ocean. The ocean should increase, the size of ocean should increase, it should agitate, the waves should come out, so many things should happen. But then ocean is still, he is like that only, he is not agitated or disturbed. So a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desire. So those is flow of desire is compared as the rivers flowing into the Samudra Mapam Pravashanti Yadvat. They are regularly entering though, but still the ocean is peaceful. Can alone, sorry, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace and not the man who strives to satisfy such a desire. So again it is spoken about the peace. The way ocean is peaceful, similarly a person whose desires are controlled, whose desires are Krishna conscious, can be peaceful. If his desires are not Krishna conscious, if he is trying to attain a material desires, if he is trying to dhyato, Vishan Pumsa is always meditating on Vishavastu, if he is trying to desire for enjoyment, he is not going to be ever satisfied. He is going to be always agitated. But the one who is yogi, satatam santushtam yogi, the yogi is always santushta, is always peaceful, he is not agitated, he is not desiring, he is not always hopping on one place to another place. That's what. So person who is not agitated, or the Sthita Pragya person is not agitated, his senses are peaceful, they are not agitated. Although the vast ocean is always filled with the water, it is especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water, but the ocean remains the steady. It is not agitated, nor did it cross beyond the limit of its brink. That is also true of the person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has the material body, the demand of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such a desire because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in a need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities. अवश्य रक्षिबो कृष्णा यही विश्वास. Krishna will always protect me. ये विश्वास भगवान के भक्तों का होता है. And because of that, all the material necessities are fulfilled by Krishna. Devotees doesn't have to endeavor. The story of Mrugari, story of a prostitute who came to Haridas Thakur, and when she surrendered to Haridas Thakur, she was saying that I do this prostitution for my daily living, for my stomach. But then what happens? Haridas Thakur said, "Don't worry, everything Krishna will provide." And she received, Mrugari received. Devotees who are staying in the ashrama, they don't have to worry every day. Will I get prasadam? When we were joining ashram, Radheshyam asked a question: if tomorrow ISKCON closes, will you continue to be a brahmachari? So some say yes, some say no, some are scared, skeptical, some are. So somebody asked this question to Radheshyam when he was joining. He said, "Yes, I'll be peaceful. I'll take a begging bowl and sit in Vrindavan and chant Radhe Radhe Krishna Krishna. I'll chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and Krishna will surely provide me food. What is required for the living? Shelter and food. I will get it. Clothes, I'll get it. I know. This is the faith of a devotee. So all the material necessities will be fulfilled by Krishna, and that's why devotee does not endeavor for sense gratification, does not endeavor for his living also. And that's why devotee is peaceful like ocean. So प्रभु जी मैं जॉब के लिए नहीं जाऊंगा अभी मैं पढ़ाई नहीं करूंगा. So that's not the right mood of a devotee, because devotee knows that Krishna has asked us to do our prescribed duties properly. But when we are doing prescribed duty, we are not greedy. When we are doing prescribed duty, we are not doing that duty for our sense enjoyment. We are doing it as a service to Krishna. Okay. Verse number 71. So 70 talks about Sthita Pragya is unagitated by desires. And then 71 talks about the qualities of a Sthita Pragya. The last verse, second last verse of the discussion. Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumsascharati nishbruha nirmoha nirankara sashantim adhigacchati. So Sthita Pragya he has given up all the objects of sense enjoyment. Vihaya kaman. Yad sarvan. What all the objects of the sense enjoyment he has given up. Pumsa charati nispruha. He is without the desires. Nirmoha. He has given up all the possessiveness. Nir ahankara. He is devoid of false ego, false identity. Sa shanti madhigachati. And such a person alone can attain real peace. So, what are the qualities of Sita Pragya, Radha Gokulantu? No desire for sense gratification. Good. Pumsam charati nispruha. Hmm? Ojasvi, Kovind Prabhu. He is free from Raga Bhaya Krodha. Nirmoha, Nirahankara. He is free from false ego, that is false identity, and Nirmoha, that because of he is free from possessiveness basically. And one more thing, he has given up all the objects of sense enjoyment. Vihaya kaman yat spruha. So a Sthita Pragya devotee is free from sense enjoyment, the desire for sense enjoyment. He has given up all the objects of sense enjoyment. He is free from false ego. He is free from possessiveness, ownership. And after doing that, sa shantim adhigacchati, he can attain peace. And one who is Sthita Pragya, what destination he will attain is explained in verse number 72. Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Naina Prapya Vimudyati Stitva Antakalepi Brahma Nirvanam Adhigacchati. So Krishna is talking about Brahma Nirvan. Nirvan is what? So impersonalists generally speak about Nirvan. Nirvan is Mukti. One attains Brahman, one is free from all of that. So Brahma Nirvanam Adhigacchati. One can attain Brahman or one can merge into Brahman. That is the understanding of an Nirvisheshwadi. But here our understanding that he can attain the abode of Lord or he can attain Krishna. He can attain God. That is the way of a spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at an hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Antakalecha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. One should remember me at the time of death, Krishna is saying. So similarly, one who is Sthita Pragya can attain Brahma Nirvanam Adhigacchati. He can attain the Krishna. He can basically enter into the kingdom of God. So one who is Sthita Pragya can attain a kingdom of God. So Arjuna is asked here to be a Sthita Pragya. So the result of Sthita Pragya is what? That is the way of a spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. A Sthita Pragya will not be bewildered. And then what will happen? Because he is not bewildered at the time of death, at an hour of death, he can enter into the kingdom of Lord. Amizato amucha gava amucha rama rama ghyava. Tukaram Maharaj entered to the kingdom of God. He was not agitated, he was not disturbed, he was so peaceful, he was not attached, no lust, no anger, no aversion, nothing. He happily said, Amsa Ram Ram Ghyava, Tata, bye bye, I am going to kingdom of God. So we should be ready for that. And that is the goal of our life. That's very important. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of its content. So we have completed the second chapter. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Last 1 minute. Any question?
Roji,
Please read the purport and come. Okay, thank you very much. Ajay Bro, Rishikesh Bro, Hare Krishna.